Hey, welcome everybody to today's class, which is going to be about homophones. I think this is particularly useful for pronunciation. You must understand that even though English words like sort and sort, even though they look completely different, even though they look like they would never sound the same, they sound exactly the same. Yeah, and I think this is perhaps the main reason why so many students and so many natives as well have problems with pronunciation, because you look at something like that and you think they must be different. Well, I want to put that idea to bed, because you mustn't think that, and you won't think that after we've looked at all of these words. You'll start to understand that completely different words like talk and talk are actually pronounced the same. Okay, so let's start with this or sound. Now, I'm starting with this sound because it's the hardest, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I often like to start with difficult topics that I find hard. And what I want you to notice, why is it the hardest? Because so many times, it seems to me, you have homophones that use the sound or. Let me give you an example down at the bottom. Or, just that sound on its own, or can be three different words. It could be the conjunction or, yeah, X or Y, apples or pears. It could be something that you use in a boat when you are rowing, and row is on here, rowed. He rowed his boat. Yeah, rowing is, you need to use an oar if you want to row a boat, and the oar is, you know what, I've got an oar right here, look at that, I've got an oar handy, look at that. Always keep an oar right by my English class, just in case. You'd be surprised what other boating equipment I have down there. But that's an oar. That yellow thing is a yellow oar. And if you live in fear or live in awe of God, yeah, for example, we often associate this word, it seems to me, with something like God, yeah, in awe of something. If you live in awe of something, it means amazement, and you are totally fascinated and maybe even a little bit fearful by how amazing that thing is. It's certainly related to the word awesome. Now notice I say awesome, although I know in America they say awesome, awesome. So they have a different pronunciation in America, certainly. But in British English, or. And by the way, all these homophones are British English homophones. I'm well aware, for example, and I mentioned it in the other class, that walk in American English is walk, and walk in American English is wok. Yeah, something that you use to cook. In British English, wok is something you use to cook, and walk is something that you do in the park. So there are differences between American and British English, so always bear that in mind. But just have a look at this or sound. Yeah, maul, like a shopping mall, and maul, the verb, when an animal rips somebody to pieces, he mauls, or it mauls that person. A bear, a polar bear might maul somebody if he's hungry. And there are always vicious dogs in our newspapers, sadly, that get out of control and maul some poor child or some poor adult. Sometimes there was a lady who was mauled to death by her own dogs, just in the paper today, I think. So maul, maul. What about haul? Haul is a room in a house, and to haul something means to take it somewhere. You get haulage, yeah, which are those trucks, those lorries that haul goods across the country.